Hi everyone! Today we're going to be doing a preview of the game Consumption. I'm your host, Mandi Hutchinson. Before we jump in, let's get some details about the game. Consumption is designed by Karen Knobloch, art is by Naomi Robinson, and it's published by Kolossal Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, plays in about 60 to 120 minutes, and it's for ages 10 and up. Consumption is a strategy game about food and choices. You will try to balance your food intake and activities to manage the nutrients your body needs. To win, you will need to shop carefully, make delicious recipes, and stay active. The game ends after the 6th round, and the player with the most victory points wins. Now that we know how to win, let's get an idea of how the game plays. Now that we know what the game is about, let's take a look at the components. 415 food tokens, 36 shopping tokens, 4 double-sided diet boards, 16 action markers, 4 score markers, 6 assistant cards, 4 reference cards, 4 end-of-game scoring cards, 12 farmers market cards, 1 first player marker, 1 food token bag, 1 round marker, 2 cravings dice, 41 recipe cards, 24 activity cards, 12 out-of-stock cards, 1 game board, and the rule book. For game setup, we start by placing the board in the center of the table. Shuffle the recipe deck. Place 2 recipe cards face up on the designated spaces of the recipe book. Divide the deck into 2 closely equal piles and place each of them on the indicated recipe deck spaces face down. Flip the top card of each recipe deck face up to show a total of 4 recipes. Shuffle the activity deck and place it face down on the indicated spot on the daily planner. Place 3 activity cards on the indicated spaces. Place the 2 cravings dice and shopping tokens next to the shopping list. Place all of the food tokens near the board to create the supply. From the supply, add 10 of each type of food token to the food token bag. Then, take 1 fats and oils food token from the general supply and place it on the corresponding pizza to go space. Randomly fill the remaining spaces with food tokens from the food token bag. If any alcohol food tokens are drawn, set them aside and continue drawing from the bag. Then return any set-aside alcohol food tokens to the food token bag. Randomly fill all buffet spaces with food tokens from the food token bag. Place the 6 assistant cards face up next to the board within reach of all players. For 2 players, remove the Life Coach assistant card from the game. Place the round marker on the first space on the round track at the top of the board. Sort the farmers market cards into separate decks according to their card back. Next, arrange the cards in each deck face down in ascending order so that the lowest round number is on top. Place the decks face down onto the board on the indicated spaces. Flip the top card of each deck that matches the current round face up. For 2 players, randomly select 8 farmers market cards to use setting up the farmers market using the normal setup rules and remove all remaining farmers market cards from the game. As a group, players must agree to play with either the standard or advanced diet boards. In this video, we will be illustrating the standard boards. For 2 players, place the out-of-stock cards near the shopping list on the board. Each player receives 4 action markers, 1 scoring marker, 1 assistant reference card, and 1 end-of-game scoring reference card. Players place their scoring marker on the 0 space of the score track. The game is played over 6 rounds, and each round will have the following steps. Select assistants, take actions, and prepare for the next round. Beginning with the last player and proceeding in counterclockwise order, each player selects any face-up assistant card from in front of another player or next to the board. It is then placed face down in front of you, and you return your previous assistant from the previous round face up next to the board. Once all players have chosen a new assistant for the coming round, flip all of the chosen assistant cards face up. Something to note, a player will never have the same assistant 2 rounds in a row. Each assistant card offers 2 options, however, players must choose one of the benefits available. Next, take actions. Players alternate taking actions until each player has taken 4 actions. To take an action, place an action marker on any open action space on the board or your personal diet board and immediately perform the action as instructed. When all action markers have been placed and actions completed, the round ends. Dining out consists of two different action spaces, the Chinese buffet and pizza to go. To dine out, place your action marker on an available dining out action space on the board. Then perform the action in that space. When a player dines out at the pizza to go space, that player takes all available food tokens from the spaces above and places them in their body. At the end of the round, the player with their action marker on the pizza to go space can place their action marker on any available action space and immediately take that action. When the player dines out at the Chinese buffet space, the player takes all available food tokens from one of the rows of their choice and places them in their body. On to snacks. So to snack, a player places their action marker on the snack action space on their diet board. Then that player places any one food token from their kitchen into their body. There's always a good time to do some grocery shopping. Each grocery shopping action allows you to purchase up to $6 worth of food. To shop, place an action marker on an available grocery shopping action space. The action spaces with a number are only available in a game of the same player count. Additionally, in a two-player game, all shopping spaces are not available and are set up according to the out-of-stock cards depicting what food tokens are available from round to round. Roll the cravings dice and place them on the matching spaces on the shopping list. The cost of a food token depends on its position on the shopping list. Any food token that is in the same column or row as a cravings die can be purchased for $1. A food token that is taken outside of a column or row with a cravings die can be purchased for $3. A player may also choose to purchase a food token directly from the supply for $5. After purchasing each food item, place a shopping cart token to delineate that this space is no longer available for this round. Then, take a food token from the supply, matching the icon on the space where the shopping token was placed, and place the food token in the shopping basket space, matching its cost to help track how much money is spent. At the end of a player's grocery shopping action, that player places all of the food tokens in the shopping basket into their kitchen. The Farmer's Market. The available cards in the Farmer's Market are fixed from round to round as indicated by the number on the card. As an action, you can place your action marker on the Farmer's Market action space on the board and select one available card. Add food tokens from the general supply that match the indicated food tokens on the chosen card to your body or kitchen as directed. The open circle spaces indicate that this action space is available to each player twice per round. The Recipes and Cook action allows a player to take new recipes from the board, cook with the food in their kitchen, or both. This action can be taken any number of times in a round as indicated by the infinity icon below the action space. A player may select up to 3 face-up recipes from the recipe book and add them to the left of their diet board. These recipes will need to be cooked in order to score them. At the end of a player's turn, refill any empty recipe book spaces and flip the top cards of the recipe decks face up so there are 4 available recipes. Something to remember, there is no limit to the number of recipes, complete or incomplete, that a player can have. However, any recipes that are incomplete at the end of the game score negative VP. To cook, a player moves up to 3 food tokens from their kitchen onto the corresponding spaces of any of their incomplete recipes. When a player cooks and fills all of the food spaces on any of their recipes, those recipes are completed. That player immediately scores the points in the bottom right corner of the recipe and places the food tokens into their body. Move the completed recipe into the completed recipes area next to the player's diet board. The ability of the completed recipe is now available for the player to use. Some recipes have a split icon indicating that a food token of either type can be used to fulfill that requirement. Completed recipe abilities may be used at any time during a player's turn, including the turn the recipe is completed. After a player uses a recipe's ability, they flip it face down in their completed recipes area. At the end of the game, a player who has fewer than 12 VP of completed recipes loses 15 victory points. Activities and workout. This action can be taken any number of times in a round as indicated by the infinity icon below the action space. The player may take up to 2 face-up activities from the daily planner and add them to the right of their diet board. These are incomplete activities that will need to be completed by working out in order to score them. At the end of a player's turn, refill any empty activity spaces on the daily planner so there are 3 available activities. There are no limit to the number of activities, complete or incomplete, a player can have. However, any activities that are incomplete at the end of the game score negative VP. And at the end of the game, a player who has fewer than 7 VP of completed activities loses 10 victory points. Working out. To work out, a player moves up to 3 food tokens from their body onto any of the open corresponding food token spaces on any of their incomplete activities. When a player fills all of the food spaces on any of their activities, that activity is completed. Return the food tokens from the completed activity to the supply. Move the completed activity into the completed activities area next to the player's diet board. Flip that activity face down and immediately score the VP listed on the bottom right corner. Each activity card features an icon in the top right corner. At the end of the game, players will score based on the number of unique icons they have among all their completed activities. And finally, an action players can take is to pass. A player may choose to place their action marker on any action space and do nothing, passing their turn. All remaining action markers are placed aside, and that player does not take any more actions this round. At the end of a round, a player that has an action marker in the Pizza to Go action space can place their action marker on any available action space and immediately take that action. Beginning with the first player and proceeding in clockwise order, each player may use any number of end-of-round abilities at this time. Starting with the rightmost kitchen space, players move all food tokens in their kitchen 1 space to the right, and they may end up in the trash. All food tokens remain in a player's trash until the end of the game. If this was the 6th round, you proceed to end of game. Otherwise, advance the round marker to the next space on the round track. Return all action markers to players. Remove all shopping tokens from the shopping list. Then return any food tokens on Pizza to Go and the Chinese buffet to the supply. Next, repeat the steps to refill as per the initial setup. Remove all face-up farmers market stands from the game and flip each farmers market stand that matches the current round face up. Place all face-up recipe cards on the bottom of the recipe decks. Then refill all empty spaces in the recipe book and flip the top card of each recipe deck so that 4 recipe cards are available. Place all face-up activity cards on the bottom of the activity deck, then refill all empty spaces in the daily planner from the top of the activity deck so that 3 activity cards are available. Pass the first player marker clockwise to the next player. The game ends after the 6th round. Players score their end-of-game VP using the following steps. Add or subtract VP for each food group based on the position of the furthest food token. Note that some food groups will score for having 0 food tokens on them. Next, add VP for completed endgame scoring recipe cards. Then add VP for each set of completed activity cards using the table. Subtract 1 VP for each food token in your kitchen and 2 VP for each food token in your trash. Subtract 10 VP if you have fewer than 7 VP of completed activities. Subtract 15 VP if you have fewer than 12 VP of completed recipes. Finally, subtract the VP indicated on the bottom right corner of each incomplete recipe and activity card. The player with the most points wins. So there you have it. There's the preview for the game Consumption. It comes to Kickstarter February 21st, 2019. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.